Hi, we will be looking at various beliefs and practices in Hindu and Islamic culture.
Here we will be observing practices, beliefs, traditions, and history, as well as comparing both religions' differences and similarities.
We will be interviewing guests about the religions as well as comparing and contrasting the religions through various skits and media. We hope you enjoy.
Islam is a monotheistic religion that was developed in the Middle East during the 7th century Common Era, 610 CE. To follow Islam is to submit to God and was founded by the teachings of Prophet Muhammad to preach Allah, born in 570 Common Era, as an expression of the will of Allah, creator of everything. The Quran is the sacred text of Islam that contains the teachings of the Prophet revealed to him by Allah, 622 Common Era. There are two traditional branches of Islam, Sunni and Shia, but both believe in the five pillars being faith, prayer, charity, fasting, and the pilgrimage of Mecca, 638.
Hinduism dates back to as far as 1500 BCE and throughout time made an important impacts on the religion. The Indus River Valley shows the earliest evidence of Hindu practices before the civilization vanished. Later, in 1400 BCE, the Aryan warrior culture takes over the river valley, bringing the language of Sanskrit, which had a big influence on the development of Hinduism. Later, in 1200 BCE, the Rig Veda was written to influence the people to join the culture. In 500 BCE, it was the age of protest where Buddhism and Jainism gone their separate ways to stray away from Hinduism. Later, in 800 BCE, Hinduism teachings have altered.
By the year 400 CE, the dominant religion of India returns to Hinduism. Alongside this, by 500 CE, temples are built to represent and honor the various Hindu gods and beliefs. These times were commonly referred to as the Hindu Renaissance. By 800 CE, the Bhakti movement began its development in India, and by 900 CE, the ideas of Brahman are taught by Shankar, which created a monotheistic belief in Hinduism, which transitioned to polytheistic. In 1100 CE, Muslims came to India and affected the Hindu faith. By the 19th century, Mahatma Gandhi and his beliefs greatly influenced Hinduism in India. By the 1990s, India and Pakistan separated and Hinduism became what it is mainly known as today.
Hi, welcome to Channel 3 News. On today's topic of religion, we will be talking with Mr. Bakhtash to give us a brief description of his religion and his beliefs and practices. So let's welcome him in. Hi, Bakhtash. Nice having you here.
Thank you, Mr. Sebastian. Thank you for having me here.
All right, so please tell us about your religion and the beliefs and practices you do.
Well, my religion is Islam, but to be Islam is to be a Muslim, in other words. And our practice revolves around Allah, the creator of the world, and his prophet Muhammad. And the story goes, Gabriel, the angel, visited Muhammad at some point in his 40s and testified him to the beliefs of Allah and how the world should work and what it means to be Muslim. And that's when the religion was made. And it preaches generosity, kindness, peace, and to follow the five pillars of Islam. The five pillars being our faith and devotion to Allah, the creator of everything, praying 5 times a day at specific points during the sunrise and sunset, charity, the Hajj pilgrimage, and last but not least, fasting.
Okay, so do you have any religious holidays?
Our religious holidays stem from Eid, being the beginning of fasting and a celebration towards New Year's, and last being Ramadan, which is the end of the feast. And when we all families get together and have the large feast to end the fast. But other than that, those celebrations stem from specific cultures and specific places that people have. I, for example, am Afghan, so my other than Eid and Ramadan have different beliefs and different festivities than Iranians, Pakistanians, for example. So other than that, we share Ramadan and Eid.
Okay, so do you have any certain rituals you have for a newborn child or marriage or maybe a death?
Yes. Births of boys, for example, within Muslim families typically have circumcisions done by trained nurses and doctors, usually between the ages of being newborn right then and there, or between being 1 year old. For example, I was when I was born. Birthdays and weddings, again, stem from celebrations from different
families and how they do it, because everybody does it differently, of course, and that has nothing to do with religion, but rather how they like to do things. But when it comes to deaths and passing away from somebody passing away, for example, everything's done through typical burial services from places around the country. We don't do cremation because we don't believe in it, but when we bury the bodies, the direct loved ones, family members, sons, daughters of, say, a father who passed away, would be buried in a casket, and the children would take a handful of dirt and throw it onto the casket before it's completely buried and everybody mourns.
Okay, so how about certain rituals you would have that involves the community itself?
The community itself would have the Jummah prayer, which would be the Friday prayer every Friday at any local mosque. If churches, for example, have the Sunday Mass, ours would be that exact equivalent, right? We all get together and do our Jummah prayers at that point during one of the 5 pillars of prayers, at that point during the sundown when everybody comes together in prayers. At that time, usually during that Friday in a mosque. But other than that, we have Eid and Ramadan, and that's about it.
All right, thank you. Stay tuned. We'll be back for a quick break, and we'll return and we will further discuss the topic of Muslim. So thanks, and stay tuned. And we're back. So we'll continue our discussion with Islamic religion. So tell us, you mentioned how you had to pray 5 times every day. Is that mandatory?
Praying 5 times a day isn't exactly mandatory if you miss a specific prayer during a specific time of the day, for example. For example, when the sun's going down and you miss your prayer then, typically you would just pray immediately after you remembered, oh, I forgot to pray. So you pray right then and there. Kind of like if you miss medication, you're supposed to take it usually immediately when you remember. And every time people pray, people usually orient themselves to the direction where Mecca is. So everybody prays there because that's the holy ground where everybody prays towards, the center point.
So by mentioning the Mecca, I assume, is it mandatory, like to visit the Mecca?
It's not mandatory to visit Mecca, but people usually go more than just religious reasons because it's a very holy, very spiritual, very fulfilling movement that people go to, because people really feel the Holy Spirit when they walk around, do the pilgrimage around Mecca. People usually do it when they're physically able, like when they're not too old, but not too young. For example, you can't be a 95-year-old who's a stout Muslim, but can't physically make the trip. But it's an incredible experience, and everybody should think about doing it at one point in their life, being a Muslim.
Okay, so I remember you mentioning the Prophet Muhammad. I know there are other prophets, so is it against the religion to believe in the other prophets?
It's not actually against any kind of Islamic rule or misbelief to believe in any of the other prophets at all. Jesus, Moses, they're all talked about and they're all preached in the Quran as well. They existed, and we acknowledge their existence. To believe in them, yeah, we believe in them, but to pray to them it would be doing it incorrectly. For example, Muhammad was the last prophet that Allah sent to earth, and that's the prophet our religion talks about. Muhammad being the last, receiving the message from Gabriel from Allah.
Okay, so by praying, do you have any sort of figures or idols or any kind of items that you pray to at home?
When it comes to idols and things we physically hold, that would be the Quran, our scripture, and our book that has all the rules and testaments that Muhammad wrote when Gabriel gave him the message from Allah. But other than that, when it comes to visual representation or idols or figures that people would keep around, that would be none, because we don't believe that God or Muhammad should have a visual representation at all. But Muhammad did have a horse that people did know of, and the horse would typically be shown that this was Muhammad's horse.
Okay, well, thanks for being here, Bax. I was really grateful.
Oh, thank you for having me.
All right. So our next topic, we'll have a guest coming to speak about Hinduism. So until then. And we're back. Our next topic, we'll be taking a look at Hinduism, and for that I have a guest with me, so let's welcome her in.
Hi.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Nice.
Thanks for coming in. So, can you please tell us about Hinduism and its practices and what you believe in?
Yeah, well, about the practice, we believe in karma, and the moksha, and the dharma, and the Veda. We read a lot about the karma, so we like to do the right thing.
Okay, so do you have any special, I guess, traditions or rituals about newborns or weddings and deaths?
Yeah, for a newborn when they're born, we it's kind of mandatory that we shave their head. We call it muran versus shaving their head. We shave their head to protect them throughout their life and for them to get blessing. And for marriage, we have a lot of tradition about marriages. So when someone want to get married, like the boy will take the parents home to their mom. The boy will take his parents to the girl parent home, and the boy parents will ask the girl parents in the hand of marriages to the daughter, and they take their vows and 7 step, and yeah. And for that, Hindu people cremate. We believe more in cremate than bury.
Okay, so do you have any religious holidays?
Yeah, we have several religious holidays that we follow up. It's kind of important too that we follow up so that we get to learn more and know more about what's going on. We celebrate the Navratri. It's 9 days. We don't eat no meat. We stay away from meat. We have Shivaratri. We actually go to Mandir, which is not mandatory, but we still go. We celebrate the Pagwa, the Holi, and then we celebrate the Diwali, the Festival of Light.
Okay, do you have any special services or traditions that you would come together as a community to celebrate?
Yeah, if there is at the temple, for example, we will try to invite as many people that we can invite, like from the public. We will try to get to meet people, and get to tell them things and invite them to come together, and we will share all the important messages about Hindu tradition.
Okay, so is it actually mandatory to actually visit a temple?
Not really. Well, going to temple and praying at home, it's like the same thing. You can be at home and pray.
Okay,
Yeah.
so do you have maybe any religious texts or readings that you look off of?
Yeah, there is one when you go to the mandir, you pray there. They offer it to you and you look in it and you follow the steps about how they do the puja and the offering and the hawan.
Okay, so do you have any certain, I guess, rituals that you would do when you make any purchases, or like a car or a house, for example?
Yeah, we believe in blessing the vehicle if we purchase a brand new car or even a second-hand car. We believe in blessing the vehicle. We will perhaps get the priest in. It's not mandatory to get the priest involved, but we can do it on our own. And for the home, it's mandatory to get a priest to bless the home, and for you to have a happy home and peace in home and peace in the inner peace within the home.
Okay. Do you have any, say, items at home? Say if you want to pray at home, do you have any religious items that you look to?
I have few statues. I have Hanuman, Lord Shiva, Lakshmi Mata. I do.
Okay. In a sense of dietary food, do you have any restrictions on what you can or cannot eat?
Yeah, actually, we can eat anything besides beef. We don't eat beef, and it's a part of our tradition. We try not to eat beef because we worship the cow.
Okay. Well, that's all the time we have. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
All right, and that's all for today. Tune in next week for another topic, and I am signing off. it still have no water. But never mind. You wash your feet, you do your cleanliness. Your blessing will be from here now. Go to cemetery inside.
Okay.
The smoke and the light of the campfires will purify the house. This when you're offering like arti, and there's only one way. You always have to go on the right hand side of this. And you can pray the same thing. Go Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. And you beg God for health and strength and all your courage to pray. And bless your whole family and give them a success in life. That's not it. You touch on everything and bring us. And we take each and every one as a blessing. In conclusion, Hinduism and Islam beliefs and traditions share many similarities and have differences, as you have seen in various forms of media.
Some similarities is that they believe in some form of higher power, a god.
The difference being that Hindus worship multiple gods, whereas Muslims worship one god, but they believe to be the one and only God that created everything, Allah. Some of the most basic forms of similarities include a prayer and dietary restriction, which are shown in the skits.
Hi, can I take your order?
Hi, can I get a bacon sandwich, please?
Yeah, can I get a Whopper?
Is that everything?
Yeah, that'll be it.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, pull up.
Oh man, this is beef. I can't eat this.
Oh, this is pork. There's pork in it. There's nothing I can do. I can't eat this.
You can eat beef, right? Because you're a Muslim.
I am. It doesn't affect me.
And I can eat pork.
You can eat pork without a problem, right?
Right.
Oh, here you go, buddy. Hold on,
Okay.
let's try it for a moment.
Okay.
Okay, there we go.
Thanks, man. Sounds like a good deal.
Some similar traditions that both Hinduism and Muslims share are births of newborn, marriages, and death.
Muslims perform a circumcision on newborn boys, and Hindus shave the heads of their babies to symbolize the babies live a happy, safe life.
Hindu weddings have to take place when a boy asks a woman's hand in marriage and informs the lady's parents and asks for their blessings during and before the wedding.
Muslim family weddings perform different services based on culture.
Hindu funerals cremate the body of the deceased, while Muslim families bury the body.
There are also religious holidays that Islam and Hindus celebrate, but both are celebrated differently.
In Islam, they celebrate Ramadan and Eid.
Eid dates the beginning of fast for 1 month, while Ramadan marks the end of the fast with a big feast.
In Hindu culture, they celebrate Holi and Diwali. Holi is a Hindu holiday known as the Festival of Colors or the Festival of Sharing Love.
To finalize this conclusion, both religions do share similar ideas on rituals, practices during daily or important dates of their lives, but are performed differently from one another based on what they believe in. But the bottom line is, they both feel it's important to perform practices and important moments in their lives.